but rather how to orient free enterprise in support of the common good. And this is something, so an article in the Business Insider came out talking about this and the background of the Heritage Foundation and how they were really, began in the Reagan years. And Reagan, one of the things they boast about was that, the Reagan White House had adopted nearly 2/3 of their recommendations. And so, and it was Reagan that said that government's not the solution to our problem, government is the problem. And so it's this idea that we've been seeing more and more that government needs to step in and put more restrictions and regulations and make more laws to protect people for the common good. We saw this, in Josh Hawley's fight with big tech and, Section 230. We're starting to see this more. We see it some with Ron DeSantis when some of the COVID stuff when they're talking about what private businesses are allowed to do as far as setting rules for their businesses. And even with corporations and DEI training, those kind of things. So, and we've actually started to see this here recently in Missouri with one of the younger freshman representatives that's come in and has been talking about some of these kind of things. And, he came in and ran on, school choice, but then turned around and voted against open enrollment and was saying, well, because my school district, because we like to tax ourselves so much, nobody else should be able to come in and take advantage of that. I'm thinking, well, this is a great opportunity to, lower taxes on people. That would be a really conservative thing to do now, wouldn't it? And this is somebody that Young Americans for Liberty came in and endorsed and ran for. But he's also, out there saying things like, when you talk about companies purchasing private home or individual homes, I'm assuming he's referring to BlackRock. But he's saying things like, it's time for us to rethink our approach to the free market. And those are just like huge red flags that start popping up, because if this is the party, this is the ideology of small government, how do you get smaller government by government regulating its own problem? Because the problem in all of these scenarios is not private business. The problem is when the government gets in bed with the private
The
business.
reality is,
And that's where
Camellia,
our problems are.
yeah, but the reality is that the conservatives just don't like the outcomes. That's what it is. It's not
Right.
that free markets don't work. It's that it allows people to have the kind of freedoms that conservatives are against. Because of their own narrow worldview, they claim to hold a monopoly on morality, and in so doing, they can essentially claim the mantle of the mind of God and to use it to oppress the rest of humanity. This is why Thomas Paine wrote The Age of Reason, because he said that mankind would never be free until the last politician is hanged in the entrails of the last priest, right? And they see themselves as a priesthood, right? No separation of church and state. They are everything that the left is, and quite frequently just as bad, if not worse, in their worship of government power, right? The thing is, the difference is that the leftists just believe in one fewer god than they do.
Yeah, and one of I think the things that's a little bit disturbing that am seeing from younger people on the right is this kind of this trend toward that national conservatism, which is basically, big government in under the guise of the right. And this idea that it's true. I think it was John Adams that said, that basically liberty requires a virtuous people. And so people, in order for liberty to work well, there is a certain level of virtue that is needed. And so, but the idea that you can come in and you can legislate that virtue and that you can make people be virtuous, I don't understand. They're thinking that you can do this, and I'm like, you need to go back and look at the moral majority years for starters. I mean, we're here in spite of that,
Or
and
one might say,
that
one might say that we're here because of that, right? That the backlash to
right.
those to the moral majority years was to foist the sort of social liberalism that was the pendulum swinging back hard from in the other direction. And the social conservatives want to try and foist it as hard back in the other direction as they can, rather than reach some kind of accommodation where we can have a tolerant nation where we can all coexist and live in peace. But in terms of in terms of what the right wants, right? In terms of right wing authoritarianism, right? A lack of belief in free markets is a lack of belief in freedom itself. I think that was Milton Friedman quote that I'm bastardizing there. Correct me if I'm wrong, streamers. But in terms of what the marketplace can offer, th- you know, I guess I would say in regards to what John Adams had said in yours. I guess I'll play devil's advocate for a moment in terms of virtue. I mean, if you're talking about not stealing from one another and not having a barbarous nation of malcontents and thieves and all of that, fine. But in regards to what John Adams believed in regards to virtue, I would probably disagree. As a matter of fact, the more I sort of look at history, I have to ask ourselves, were we ever really a virtuous nation? Or did we just sort of look at certain time periods with rose-colored glasses and perhaps say the best of humanity, the very small, tiny, magnet of elites who had a sense of virtue themselves, perhaps, were the ones who carried us through the rest of us? Because I'm not saying that I don't agree with the Christian view of all mankind is fallen, but for the most of us, we're all pretty flawed, and we make mistakes. And I think there are very few virtuous people in this world. And I don't actually know if I believe that it requires a virtuous people for us to have liberty, because liberty is really just, to me, just the negation of oppression in that sense. And the negation of oppression would allow people to behave in non-virtuous ways. And not everybody has to be virtuous. I don't think everybody can be virtuous. And unfortunately, the desire to this Robespierrean desire to purge the world of vice and sin just turns us into the kind of society that attempts to punish one another for what is our particular narrow worldview of perceived vice. What's the vice? If it's a conservative, the vice is pornography and prostitution and drinking alcohol and gambling and loose women. The vice on the right, on the left, is spending too much money, having too much money, burning too much carbon, you know co- using too much of your carbon credit allowance for the day, and having a social credit score. So I mean, no one is virtuous according to the left or right definition of virtue.
Sure, I think, and it does come down to definition too. I mean, like, I guess when I think of virtue, I think of basically the golden rule, so to speak. Treat others like you would like to be treated, and that doesn't mean that you have to agree with them on everything. That it means that you treat them decently and with respect, and you respect their individual choices, as long as it's not harming you. I do think this comes down to the Andrew Breitbart quote that he's kind of become famous for, is that politics is downstream of culture. And that's why, when this tendency for with national conservatism to go back to legislating morality and cultural issues, is the problem. Is like, where is the failure on this? Why are we at this point? Because government doesn't create your morality. They don't determine that. Your culture does that. And we are the culture. You are the culture. So the failure is not with government in this. The failure is with the people.
Todd in Minnesota asked the question, do you have principles that follow you, or do you just go with the flow? Well, there's a fake Thomas Jefferson quote that used to get shared around a lot, and I'm not sure who actually said it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. In matters of style, flow with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock, right? And Thomas Jefferson didn't say that, but a lot of people said that he did, and it makes a lot more sense to me. Send us a text at 573 with your thoughts on this. 573 319 1586. That's 573 319 1586. Todd in Minnesota is telling me that that was a rhetorical question. Yikes. Sorry, Todd. uh,
That's a good
in
point to talk about, though.
Yeah, no, no, for sure. I find myself increasingly frustrated with these Republican presidential candidates, Camelia. I tweeted this morning that I'd like to see Kristi Noem get in the race. I don't mind Tim Scott. He doesn't seem to have turned against free markets. I think I saw something where Vivek Ramaswamy the other day was talking, it was, smack about markets as well, and how, common good capitalism, which is just, horse shite, more, might as well be voting for Marco Rubio. But is there any chance that we might have any Republican presidential candidate who actually stands for free markets at all? I mean, are we, because it doesn't seem like Ron DeSantis, he seems to be sort of turning a little bit more authoritarian on things like that. I don't know which way he's going to go. What do you think?
I've had some concerns, some little niggling concerns about him for, a while. But yeah, I don't know, is Rand Paul or Thomas Massey going to run?
No,
We
I
would
don't
have
think
someone
so.
then.
I don't think so, and
So
I mean, it's unfortunate because while Rand is fantastic in the Senate, I don't think he was a great presidential candidate. So it's my hope is that Kristi Noem gets in because she seems to be kind of the only potential person with potential who actually defends free markets. But she's persona non grata amongst a lot of MAGA people for whatever reason. Maybe for that reason.
right, yeah, and I just that's it is truly unfortunate, but I think it's going to be like every time where we basically have to choose the candidate who at least has most or at least more qualities that we're looking for than anybody else does, and that's never really all of them though, right?
Hmm.
Um, you know, with the national conservatism, one of the things that I wanted to point out about Heritage doing this is they are kind of they're sort of making this shift toward this national conservatism, but they're also trying to walk the line in just saying that because the person who wrote this, by the way, that report, Alex Salter, is somebody that I'm familiar with through libertarian circles. So this really surprised me when this came out. Um, but I think they're trying to walk that line and just kind of pointing out observations and saying that we need to look at this. And I do think that we need to look at it and we need to look at the arguments on both sides, because I mean, we're talking about basically the future of libertarian conservatism, on the right and going forward. And if we cannot make good arguments and we cannot convince people of our principles, we'll continue down the same road we've been on. And that's not going into 5 questions that we can look at. And what a common good capitalism policy agenda looks like. And some examples they gave of that are premises like only strong independent families can maintain the character of a free society. So, therefore you have to have complementary programs such as tax credits for families, small businesses. And so what they say it ends up looking like is subsidies and tax credits and regulatory reforms, deregulation, yes, but also regulating. And that they're saying that there is a role for government in some cases to get involved in guiding even like manufacturing and business and things like that. And I just that's so disturbing. This has really been bothering me, and I tweeted the other day basically that national conservatism is just a longer, more meandering path down the road to socialism,
Yeah.
because the end is going to be the same.
Yep, it certainly is. Camellia Peterson. Camellia, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners on tax day before we let you go today?
Well, we'll just all breathe deep and practice a little meditation, and this is my theme for today is economic freedom. So we'll practice economic freedom to the best of our ability every day, and do your duty, your civic duty as a citizen of America, and practice a little civil disobedience today. It's
I'd
good for
love
the
to.
soul.
I'd love to see it. Camellia Peterson, editor of the Libertarian Republic, and a good friend of the show. Camellia, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Hey, spring is breaking. It's going to be warm soon. We need to get a float trip organized. What do you say?
Yes, somebody just messaged me about that. We got to talk.
It's about time. We'll talk about it. All right. The Cantina crew's all invited. We'll be back with more on the Wake Up America show. Bye, CJ. See you later. All right. When we get back, 12 scientific explanations for why the food that you eat tastes the way that it does. Yes. We'll lighten it up a little bit. 12 scientific explanations for why the food we eat tastes the way it does. While we're on the commercial break, why don't you do us all a favor? Head over to apforlibertyshop.com. Check out all of our freedom-loving merch over there at apforlibertyshop.com. And we'll be back with more The Wake Up America show. We'll see you soon.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How are you feeling today? Some of you are in a good mood. Is it because you already got your taxes filed? The rest of you? What about you? I know. It sucks. Quest was asking, there's Nelson who's taken off. See you later, Nelson. Why you gotta leave, bro? Come on. Making us sad. Hopefully we'll see you again real soon, Nelson. Glad you enjoy the show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again real soon. All right, moving on. Where was I? God, I lost my spot there. I was sad that Nelson was leaving. The Wake Up America show is brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. Make sure you click that like button, smash the like button so that we can spread the message of freedom to other people in their feeds. We've got a bunch of people watching us over on Rumble. I think it's because sometimes YouTube really is not the best when it comes to keeping the stream up when the internet gets a little bit slow. So we've got rvolt24 over there. The thing is, rvolt, he says there's 52 people watching, but only like so many likes. Just remember that over on Rumble that I think you have to have an account and like be signed in order to click like and to leave a comment. I'm fairly sure. So maybe only a small portion of those people actually have accounts, but we still appreciate that they're watching anyway. So if you are on Rumble and you are logged in and you have an account and you can click like, I would super appreciate if you would do that right now. Be grateful. Thank you. Same thing over on YouTube as well, of course. Nelson thought the show was over. No, the show's not over, bro. I still got some more content. We go until 9 a.m. here in the Midwest. All right, scientific explanations. We've already done all the big, heavy stories today. Let's talk about something fun. 12 scientific explanations, a list that I have here for you, for why the food we eat tastes the way it does. God, I love spicy food. Don't you? Are you a spicy food fan? No? What are you, white people? You don't spice your food? And that was a big controversy on the internet recently about white people not spicing their food. And it was just a joke. But I love spicy food. And I'm not talking about garlic and onions and salt and pepper and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about cumin. I'm talking about curry. I'm talking about red peppers. I'm talking about habanero peppers. I'm talking about every level of spice. There have only been a very few rare peppers that I will have not ventured to touch just yet. I don't believe I've eaten a ghost chili. I don't believe I've eaten a what are those scorpion peppers or anything like that. Because here's my rule when it comes to eating hot stuff. I love jalapenos. My rule when it comes to eating spicy food is that it has to actually taste good. Like if the spice tastes good, fine. I will submit myself to the pain of the heat. That's fine. I can take the pain. But what I can't tolerate is just pain for pain's sake. That I don't appreciate and that I won't go for. So if there's anybody in the chat right now who's ever had like a ghost pepper or had one of those, what is it? What's the one chip? What's the one chip challenge or something? I've seen these at grocery stores and stuff where they'll have like it's just one chip and it's so friggin' hot that you can only eat just one. Do those actually taste good? Are there any peppers above, say, I think the hottest that I've gone is just habaneros, but I know that there are hotter ones than that. Have you had like a scorpion pepper or a ghost chili? And does it taste different? Does it have a good flavor? I would honestly be curious because I don't want to just sometimes you get spicy stuff and it doesn't taste good, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Any of my spicy food lovers out there? I love spicy food. Doug says he likes spicy food like mayo, white bread, and water.
How dare you?
Anyways, so what about you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Spicy foods. Do you eat spicy foods? And if so, have you tried anything hotter than habaneros? And would you recommend it? Because honestly, I'd love to find fresh food. My thing is I feel like I've tried almost everything in the world, right? I've tried the most disgusting things you could ever imagine, live, raw, whatever. I've tried this, I've tried that, but I'm always trying to find like spices or flavors that I've never experienced before that are obviously good flavors, right? So I'm a very adventurous eater, but spicy food seems to be the only place where you can kind of find variety and flavor. So I would be curious to hear. I have a bottle of the Last Dab, and I use it literally. Todd, is that the bottle of stuff? The Last Dab, is that the slogan? It says "Little dab will do ya" for that because I'm pretty sure I've seen that before. Maybe when I was a kid, my dad used to put it in his chili. Just dab will do ya, right? The Last Dab. I don't know if that's what that was. I'd be curious to hear that. So let us know. All right, so I've got a list here of scientific explanations for why food tastes the way it does. So why are habanero peppers so spicy, right? Why are they spicy at all? Some of the spicier chilies are because of cross pollination and breeding that have been done. A lot of peppers that exist today are just because of genetic engineering. Oh my god. The spicy chip challenge has a warning on it. The person that sells it is not liable for any damages. In some places, put up a sign: "Do not consume this on property." Yes, that's interesting. I wonder. I haven't tried it. Does it taste good or not? That's the thing. Again, I will eat spicy, spicy, spicy food, but I will not eat spicy food if it's just hot and it doesn't actually taste good. Like mango habanero is to me one of the most delicious flavors there is, right? Whenever I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm getting buffalo, spicy buffalo wings. I'm getting the spicy Caribbean jerk, which if you haven't had Caribbean jerk, that is actually a really good spice and it's hot. I mean, I don't like to say hot. I like to say it's spicy, but it's not too spicy. It's kind of like a medium spicy, but an actual medium spicy, not like a medium like spicy like you would get in a jar of like salsa at your local grocery store, but like actually a true medium spicy. And I would say that Caribbean jerk is the best with alongside standard buffalo wings that are hot. And then the third thing, mango habanero. Mango habanero. I would be curious. Um, Mango habanero, have you ever had it? Because if you haven't, to me, it's like a sweet flavor that is honestly really delicious, and it has that sweet. If you do the mango habanero, like I think the sweetness, the fruit of that mango, coupled with that spiciness of the pepper, which is that's like a sweet pepper, really goes well together. I'm gonna get hungry now and want spicy wings. Have you been to Buffalo Wild Wings anytime recently? By the way, that is expensive, bro. That is. Man, chicken wings. Because when we got back from Japan, we wanted to like eat some American food really fast. But Man, you go and you get like a cup, like an order of wings, and it's like $40 for an order of chicken wings. It's insane. Anyways, why chili peppers are spicy? The article: chili peppers produce capsaicin, as you probably know. That's the compound, of course, that makes them spicy, and that's a way to kind of protect themselves from insects, rodents, and fungus, and to get birds to spread their seeds. But it just makes us humans hungrier for them. So the idea is that capsaicin was developed as a defense mechanism for plants in order to protect them from other mammals. Mammals who would come up and eat their spicy peppers would move on, right? Because I'm pretty sure, other mammals are not going to enjoy spicy foods the way that we do. But I wonder why humans actually like it, whereas other mammals really don't. I'd be curious to hear if anybody knows more insight on that one. Real vanilla, complex flavor, sharp taste. Why is real vanilla so much better than synthetic vanilla? Most food companies use a synthetic version of vanilla to favor their products, but real vanilla extract, have you ever had it? Actually has a very complex flavor and smell because of the extra compounds that it contains. I honestly cannot remember the last time that I've had real vanilla. Imagine what real vanilla ice cream must taste like. I don't think I've had that in a long time either. Man, all this talk about food this morning. Oh, my stomach's gonna start being like, oh, I need to eat. Why drinking OJ after brushing your teeth is such a bad idea. So when you brush your teeth with toothpaste that contains sodium lauryl sulfate, it can make orange juice taste bitter and sour because it actually temporarily stops your tongue from being able to taste sweetness. That's interesting. A little bit of scientific evidence here for you. Why drinking OJ after brushing your teeth is such a bad idea. The sodium lauryl sulfate that is contained within toothpaste stops your tongue from being able to taste sweetness. I find that to be quite fascinating. How about you? Oh, coffee. This is actually a really interesting one, probably the best one for our morning show. Why coffee smells better than it tastes. So, when you drink coffee, the saliva in your mouth breaks down almost half of the molecules that give it its delicious smell. So, it doesn't taste as good as it smells. The saliva in your mouth breaks down part of the molecules. Isn't that disappointing? Don't you wish that you could actually taste coffee the way that it smells? God, wouldn't that be amazing? Because it is true that coffee does um, coffee does smell better than it tastes. Although I do enjoy the taste as well. Hershey's chocolate. Have you ever noticed that it actually tastes like puke? Hershey's chocolate has a unique taste. Yes, you're like no. And I'm stuffing my face with Hershey's chocolate. Uh, Actually, yes, Hershey's chocolate actually does taste like literal puke. 60 people watching over on Rumble. Damn. It's like 20 over on 30 over on YouTube. 789. I bet you we got 10 abouts or so watching us on the other platforms today, like Twitch and um and on Facebook. So yeah, probably 100 people watching us this morning now. Yeah. Glad you like us. Make sure you bookmark us. Come back and join us. Click subscribe on the stream. Subscribe to my feed at AP for Liberty on Rumble so that you can join us again. I'd really appreciate it. Nice to see you all this morning. I love having a big audience. Nelson, nice to hit you, bud. I always hit the boring glove. Not sure what that means. Okay, so back to the science. The science. Hershey's chocolate tastes like literal puke because it contains butyric acid, which is also found in vomit. This gives it a tangy and slightly sour flavor from European chocolate, which is made with milk. Now I feel like I need to go buy a couple of chocolate bars today and do a side-by-side taste test. You know what? I should probably do that on the show tomorrow. What do you think? Side-by-side taste test, get some European chocolate and then some Hershey's chocolate and see if I can taste the puke. What do you think about that? Yeah. Why does milk sometimes taste fishy? I have totally noticed that before. Have you ever had like a big swig of milk and you're drinking from the God, Steffi hates it when I do this. When you drink from the jug and you're like, you get that kind of weird, almost salmony taste right to it, right? Well, cow's milk can have a fishy taste sometimes because of a mutation in their genes. This causes one of their enzymes to stop working, reducing its activity by more than half and resulting in the bad taste. Milk can sometimes taste fishy because it has a mutation. Some cows have mutations in their genes that causes their enzyme to stop working, reducing their activity and resulting in bad taste. Justin Peterson says, get European Cadbury chocolate. Oh my God, it will blow your mind. So good. God damn, I'll be so hungry by the end of the show today. And I already ate 2 bowls of Frosted Flakes. Oh God, I know. I'm so fat. I'm so fat. So fat. So terrible. I know.
No, God! No, God!
Don't do
please,
that negative
no!
self-talk.
No!
What is it my wife would say
No!
if she was
Dare
here.
you?
All right, so we're talking about food, scientific reasons for why food tastes the way that it does. Quest Fanning says he's a few minutes behind. He did enjoy some things with the ghost pepper as an ingredient, pretty good. Also have ghost pepper salt. Had a good Scotch bonnet sauce that a Dominican friend's wife made. Scotch bonnet, I think I've had that before. It's not too bad. It's just I really need to have my spicy food taste good as well. Bacon. Why is bacon delicious? I know what you're thinking. You're already saying to yourself, we know why bacon is delicious, because bacon tastes like America.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Yes.
I was going to excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. President. Why bacon is delicious. When you cook bacon, the sugar and protein in it react and create a dark, crispy color and a delicious smell. This is called the Maillard reaction, and it releases around 150 different types of fragrant compounds. Sugar and protein create a dark, crispy color and a delicious smell. So it's kind of like that, what do you call it? It's almost like caramelizing to an extent, right? So when you're cooking bacon, it's that sugar and fat, protein all react, create that little crispy. Oh my God, I'm going to be getting so freaking hungry. Scientific explanations for why food we eat tastes the way that it does. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Nice to see you all here today. Namaste. Ohayo gozaimasu. Gesundheit. Glad to have you here on the program. Make sure that you click that like button if you're watching us over on YouTube or on Rumble or on Facebook or on Twitch, so that we can spread the message of freedom. I know you guys over there on Rumble are sitting there lurking and watching and enjoying the show. There's 50 people over there, and you're all like, man, I don't know if I'm going to click the like button over on that Rumble stream right now. Come on, do it. Do it. Shia LaBeouf, do it. 14 people have liked that stream. Let's get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Glad to have you here anyway, though. I appreciate everybody who's watching the show. I made ghost pepper hot salt. Absolutely fantastic on garden fresh tomatoes. Oh, Andy, my stomach. I need like a crinkling stomach noise because I'm just like, I feel like I'm gonna die. I'm so hungry now. That's what I get for not eating my usual oatmeal in the morning. Stephanie's like, do you still want oatmeal? Because I'm like, I'm trying to get my fiber. Fiber, that's like a 42-year-old man. I word. When you start talking about getting fiber, that's when you know you're old. Why organic milk stays fresh for so long. Organic milk can stay fresh for longer than regular milk because the Illuminati puts something in the regular milk in order to turn us all into zombies so that we can pay Klaus Schwab all of our money and live in the pod and eat the bugs, and you'll own nothing and be happy. Am I right or am I right? I'm right. I know. Sorry. All right. I'll slow it down, okay? Don't want to reveal the Illuminati, have the FBI coming knocking on our door. All right. Why organic milk stays fresh for so long? Because it stays fresh longer than regular milk because it goes through a process, and this is something I'm just learning today, called UHT. This involves heating the milk up to a very high temperature, which kills off any bacteria. Organic milk can stay fresh for longer, heating the milk up to a very high temperature for a few seconds, killing off all the bacteria. I thought that was just called pasteurization. Am I wrong here? UHT? I thought that was when you heat up the milk, that's called pasteurization. Am I wrong? But then organic milk, they don't pasteurize organic milk. Somebody fill me in on this one. Organic milk. I never buy organic because I always think it's just a big waste of money, but here are your thoughts on this one. Scientific explanations for why the food we eat tastes the way it does. Number 4, why banana flavoring doesn't taste so banana-y. Did you ever have those, what were they called? Not lifesavers, but the what were the little candies that we used to get as kids that were individually wrapped, and they had all, not Laffy Taffies, but it was like something similar to that, but they were individually wrapped, and then they had like the banana one that nobody ever wanted, and then everybody would talk about whenever you would eat this banana, what was flavor or something? I don't know what it was. Somebody help me out for the love of God. What banana Laffy Taffy? Is that what it was? I guess they still make it, right? But why didn't banana Laffy Taffy taste like bananas? Well, the artificial banana flavoring used in so many foods is based on what's called isoamyl acetate, which is found in fairly high amounts in the Gros Michel banana. And that was the banana that was popular in the early 1900s, while the Cavendish banana is the most popular type today. Now or laters. That's what it was, I think, Justin. Yeah, now or laters. Thank you for that. Thank God for my brother. So it's kind of fascinating when you're tasting banana flavoring in banana flavored candy, you're tasting what bananas used to taste like in the early 1900s, right? The Gros Michel banana. But nowadays, the banana flavoring that you're familiar with is the Cavendish banana. Um, yeah, I had no idea. Interesting. Tolly Owen says they pasteurize organic milk. Okay, I thought that yeah. So organic is pasteurized, but it's the raw milk that's unpasteurized. Am I wrong about that one? Yeah, it's the raw milk that all the libertarian activists want. Now and later. Now and later, Todd in Minnesota. Thank you very much correcting my brother. My brother right now is like,
No, God! No,
how dare
God,
you? How
please,
dare you?
No, no,
Yeah, it wasn't now or later. It was
no,
called now and
no.
later because you could have some now and a little bit later, which is really good. I watched a vampire movie recently, which was really good with like Chloe Sevigny. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but she, in the movie, she always was like the main character had now and laters. And it was kind of like a play on the joke where like she would keep victims and she would like drain their blood and then they would stay with her and kind of become her slaves. And then it was like the main character had now and laters, which was kind of like an inside joke to the fact that she would have some blood now and she would have some later, which, you know, what are you going to do with that information? Nothing. Hopefully it'll make your day at least more interesting. Pay and park and pay, says Todd in Minnesota. um all right, cilantro. So my wife absolutely hates cilantro, which makes me sad because it basically means that we almost never go out to karate food anymore. Karate food. The hell's wrong with you, Austin? You got karate in the brain. You never go out for Mexican food. What is wrong with you, Austin? Karate food. I'm just not with it today. Cilantro tastes for some people like soap, and my wife actually thinks that cilantro tastes disgusting, and I happen to like cilantro. I don't know about you on tacos and stuff, but cilantro does taste for some people like soap. Well, about half of Europeans have two copies of a specific gene variant responsible for sensing smells, and of those people, 15% said that cilantro tastes soapy. Cilantro tastes soapy. Our friend over on Rumble, Blue Trike, said, I've had the one chip challenge twice, a few years apart. Second time it was much spicier. Neither tasted good. Thanks for letting me know, because honestly, I don't want to eat it if it doesn't taste good. Uh, I don't care about the spice if it doesn't taste good. I'm not going to eat it. I will eat the hottest thing in the world if it tastes good, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to waste my time because there's no point. That's just stupid, just pain for pain's sake. I love me some cilantro, says Todd, in Minnesota, and it does not taste like soap. Agreed. I agree. I think it tastes delicious, but I think my wife has that European gene, so we know she's Euro trash. Just kidding, Steffi. Love you. High altitudes, not great for taste buds. Austin, what is the hell is wrong with you? Karate, stupid. I feel dumb telling. Why airline food tastes so bad? Research in Germany showed that when we're at high altitudes, our taste buds don't work as well. It's like our taste is about 30% weaker. Yes. So that is why airplane food doesn't taste very good. It's because our taste buds don't work as well at high altitudes. That's kind of fascinating to me, honestly. Matt Unruh sending me the text this morning. What's up, Matt? He says, oh, Larry Sharp's texting too. What's going on, guys? He said, Matt says, brother did hot chip challenge. He loves hot stuff and he loves hot stuff and he really hated that chip. Yeah, I can completely understand why. It sounds disgusting. Why spicy food feels hot even if it actually isn't. So the capsaicin in that spicy chip binds to VR1 receptors in the mouth. Their real purpose is to detect heat and to stop us from eating food that's too hot. So when they're activated by capsaicin, we feel like we're eating something boiling hot. I find that so fascinating because if you think about it, at some time, in order for our taste buds to have evolved, or for these VR1 receptors in our mouth to evolve. Consider that there was a time when all humanity ever did was eat cold food, right? Before we cooked our food and heated up our food, the only food that humans ate was cold food. It was either dead raw flesh that we had, that we had hunted down, or it was, the odd fruit or grain or vegetable if we managed to pick one up as hunters or gatherers, or maybe hunters gatherers came after we started cooking food. But so if you think about it, those VR1 receptors had to come, I'm guessing, after we started cooking our food, because it would have been an evolutionary reaction to us eating hot food for once, right? Because all of our food to that point had been cold, so there would have been no need for a VR1 receptor. At least it's fascinating and interesting, something to think about. What do you think about that? Send us a text, 573-319 1586. That's the text line, open at 573-319-1586. I've got more content to go, don't I? Let's see. Let's take a look. Yes, I do. Oh my God, I missed an interview. I freaking blew through an interview with Gorion Frankel. Oh my God, why didn't anybody tell me? I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. I've never done this before. And it happened live. I'm an idiot. Oh my God, Austin, what is wrong with you? All right, let me go make sure that Gary Frankel's still available. Hopefully I'll be back with him. Sorry about that, Gary. If you're watching right now, I will come get you right now. Sometimes I go on rants. I'll be back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Yikes. Dumb.
Good morning to the Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter. And I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America Show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government. Get off my back. Get out of my pocket.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. All right, give me a boo. I screwed up. I'm late for my interview with Gary Frankel. I'm really excited to talk to. his very first appearance on the show, his article over in Reason Magazine would caught my attention, titled Satan Clubs Should Be Allowed in Schools. After-school Satan clubs, he says, cause no direct harm. They merely challenge the relationship between religious institutions and public schools. Gary Frankel joining us right now. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Austin.
Yeah, first question, I guess, is do you eat babies?
I do not eat babies, nor do I conduct goat sacrifices on pentagrams on school playgrounds.
So why are you writing about why Satanist clubs should be allowed on school grounds, Gary?
Well, to clear something up right off the bat, I am not a Satanist, but what I am is a pluralist. And what after-school Satan clubs try to do is they manipulate, and manipulate's a strong word. They take advantage of some of the laws surrounding religious liberty on public school campuses, particularly within after-school programs, in an effort to try and pressure school districts into making really difficult decisions. Because on one hand, they can allow all kinds of student organizations with all kinds of content, even the ones that they don't find objectionable. But if they get the option to, or if they start having a desire to pick and choose, they can't do that under US law. Their only option is to shut down all student organizations within that school, which in the end is what some of these Satan clubs really want, while others are more interested in just poking the proverbial bear, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because it's like if you're going to have the 10 Commandments on the courthouse steps, then you've got to allow a statue of Baal, right? Because, I mean, either all of our religious and non-religious beliefs have to be respected or none of our religious beliefs are going to be respected. But it does seem as if there are groups of people in this country that are unwilling to accept that it has to be only their particular sect of religion that's allowed and no one else's.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult where in some communities, you have an overwhelming majority of the population that subscribes to that general belief. And then you'll have proponents of localism say, well, that community should be allowed because the Supreme Court says that for atheism as if it were a religion, which sounds odd. But when you think about it a little bit, it makes sense because if you treat non-belief as something else entirely, then it makes it seem like that you're preferring religion over everything else. And you can't do that under US law. That doesn't adhere to the spirit of the First Amendment. So it's a really convoluted situation. And it doesn't help when some people don't understand what Satan clubs actually stand for and think that kids are going to start sacrificing goats.
Yeah, see, the problem with the whole concept of atheism as being treated as if it were a religion is that, it sort of doubles down on the rhetoric that people take in saying that atheism is a religion and, that which is obviously ridiculous because it's like saying that clear is a color, right? But I'd like to talk about the heart of this. There must have been a case or there's several cases of this happening, Gary, in order for us to be having this conversation today. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's been a variety of cases in numerous states over the last 2 or 3 years. Off the top of my head, there was controversy in New York, Virginia, Ohio, California, and the latest